But Brother Steve, read the oracles of the church and invite him who stands at the door that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may continue to read this great legacy and consider what we read, that we might come to some understanding as to what we are supposed to be about.
I'm going to read the oracles of the church beginning in 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Amen. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim giveth, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yeshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim, for the anointed one's sake, have forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the anointed one also have loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness are covered be one's name among you as becometh saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Amen. Amen. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the church.
Amen. I'd like to start our class today in Exodus chapter 18 and pick that up at verse 1, my brother. Exodus chapter 18 and verse 1.
Verse 1. When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard of all that Elohim had done for Moshe and for Israel his people, and that Yahweh had brought Israel out of Egypt, then Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moshe's wife, after he had sent her back, and her two sons, of which the name of the one was Gershon, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for the Elohim of my father, said he, was mine help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moshe into the wilderness, where he encamped at the mount of Elohim.
Verse 13, brother.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Moshe sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moshe from the morning unto the evening. And when Moshe's father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, What is this thing that you do to the people? Why sittest thou thyself alone, and all the people stand by you from morning unto even? And Moshe said unto his father-in-law, Because the people come unto me to inquire of Elohim. When they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another, and I do make them know the statutes of Elohim and his laws. And Moshe's father-in-law said unto him, the thing that you do is not good. You will surely wear away both you and this people that is with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to perform it yourself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give you counsel, and Elohim shall be with you. Be you for the people to Elohim ward, that you may bring the causes unto Elohim, and thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shall show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, you shall provide out of all the people able men, such as fear Elohim, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens, and let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto you, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for yourself, and they shall bear the burden with you. If you shall do this thing, and Elohim command you so, then you shall be able to endure, and all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moshe hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers over thousands, rulers over hundreds, rulers over fifties, and rulers over tens. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moshe, but every small matter they judged themselves. And Moshe let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land.
And this is what we tried to do, we've tried to do in the past in this congregation, to set up people that people could go to and receive knowledge and understanding about certain things. But we find that in most cases what happened is people have a tendency to put in what they think or how they feel instead of giving people sound doctrine. But go ahead and read, brother.
Exodus chapter 19, verse 1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moshe went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wing, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel.
And we know that Israel never became a kingdom of priests. What he did was he set the Levites up as the priests, and that kind of put a damp on the things that Jethro had told Moshe to do, simply because the people were told to go to the priests, right? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that Yahweh hath spoken we will do. And Moshe returned the words of the people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Lo, I come unto you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever. And Moshe told the words of the people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the 3rd day. For the 3rd day Elohim will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
Now, we know that Yahweh could have sanctified the people himself, didn't he? Don't we? But he sent a man to do it, didn't he? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that you go not up into the mount or touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. Thou shalt not in hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. And Moshe went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And Moshe said unto the people, Be ready against the third day, come not at your wives. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
Now, Moshe said something that wasn't told to him, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
He told them, say, don't come at your wife. That wasn't told to the people, was it? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. And Moshe brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on the smoke, because Elohim descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moshe spake, and Elohim answered him by a voice. And Elohim came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and Yahweh called Moshe up to the top of the mount, and Moshe went up.
Now, what we get from this and from other prophets, Yahweh said this. He said, here it says, excuse me, and when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moshe spake, and Elohim answered him by a voice. And Yahweh came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and Yahweh called Moses up to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up, right? Okay, now Yahweh said, if there's a man among you that I choose, I'm going to speak to him apparently, either in a dream or in a vision, right? Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 21. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto Elohim to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also which come near to Yahweh sanctify themselves, lest Yahweh break forth upon them. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you charged us, saying, Set bounds about the mount and sanctify.
They didn't know what it is. It don't seem like somebody didn't know who Jake was. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 24. And Yahweh said unto him, Away,
get you down. See? At least these people come up here and break through and to gaze, and I break out upon them. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 25. So Moshe went down unto the people and spake unto them. And El spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other Elohims before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
And the Messiah, wait a minute now. The Messiah said you neither seen his shape or heard his voice at any time, right? So we know that this truly wasn't Yahweh himself. It was an angel of Yahweh. Because we were told that we received the law through the dispensation of angels and have not kept it. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh thy Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Now, we get our baptisms, right? Then we make all we do it with our baptism like we do with them New Year's resolutions. We make them, and we know damn well we don't intend on keeping them. Because the first time something comes up that rubs us the wrong way that we don't like, we ready to fight. We ready to do something else. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar. And they said unto Moshe, you speak with us, and we will hear. But let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die.
Right. They well said, because if Elohim would have spoke to them, they would have all died. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. And Moshe said unto the people, fear not, for Elohim is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not. And the people stood afar, and Moshe drew near unto the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, you have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me Elohims of silver, neither shall you make unto you Elohim gold. An altar of earth you shall make unto me, and shall sacrifice thereon your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In all places where I record my name I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if you will make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone. But if you have lifted up your stone, your tool upon it, you have polluted it. Neither shall you go up by steps unto mine altar, that your nakedness be not discovered thereon.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go into chapter 23 and verse 20 through 24 and 18. 23 and verse 20 through 24 and verse 18.
Verse 20. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if you shall indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto your enemies, and an adversary unto your adversaries.
Verse 31, brother.
And I will set your bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. And I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their Elohim. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their Elohims, it will surely be a snare unto you. And he said unto Moshe, come up unto Yahweh, you and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off.
Wait a minute now. All the folks holy. All the folks was holy, right? But what did Yahweh say? You come up, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, right? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 2. And Moshe alone shall come near Yahweh, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moshe came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which Yahweh have said will we do.
Right, they're saying all of this in the beginning, right? Well, we're going to see what's going to take place as time goes on. Go ahead, brother.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 4. And Moshe wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built it an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moshe took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that Yahweh hath said will we do, and be obedient. And Moshe took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahweh hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moshe and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the Elohim of Israel. And there was under his feet as it were a pay work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw Elohim, and did eat and drink.
And Moshe thought he saw Elohim when he was in the mount at the burning bush, didn't he? But we know it was an angel in that bush, didn't he? And what did that angel say? I am Yahweh, your Elohim. He didn't say I'm a messenger. Go ahead and read, brother.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 12. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them.
Amen.
And Moshe rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moshe went up into the mount of Elohim. And he said unto the elders, tarry you here for us, until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them.
Right. Never mind them captains of hundreds and captains of 50s and everything. Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matter to do, let him come unto them. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. And Moshe went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of Yahweh was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moshe went into the midst of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moshe was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights.
Okay, my brother, chapter 31 and verse 12 through 32 and 35. Chapter 31 and verse 12 through chapter 32 and verse 35.
Verse 12. Exodus 31, verse 12. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, yes, my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh that does sanctify you. You shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the Sabbath is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
Haven't we read where the priests profaned the Sabbath and are blameless? They had to work on the Sabbath day. Why? Because you had to have an evening and a morning sacrifice, and the law had to be read unto the people. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
Right. First thing white folks changed was the Sabbath. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed.
And when we get in Isaiah 66, it tells you from one Sabbath to another and from one new moon to another shall all flesh come to worship before me, right? So we know that this was part of the perpetual covenant, wasn't it? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 18. And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. And when the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us Elohims, which shall go before us. For as for this Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what has become of him.
Wait a minute. They had just said all that Yahweh has said we will do and be obedient, didn't he? Had just said it. See? Just like we do with that baptism. We go back there and we take that baptism and we say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And the first time something come up that rub you the wrong way, you through with all that. Go on and read, brother.
Exodus chapter 32, verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Yahweh.
He said, now tomorrow he made a proclamation, and look, tomorrow is the feast of Yahweh now. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Verse 6.
See, I know what was wrong with Aaron. Aaron was scared to death. Can you imagine a whole lot of black folks around you telling you to do something? Yeah. Go on and read, brother. Right. But you still, what I'm getting at is you see how quickly the people rejected who Yahweh had sent to deliver. You see how quickly they did? And then turn right around. Now they're rejecting him. See? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 6.
See, this is why you can't listen to Jay. See, you have to listen to your instructions from the angel of the Lord. Once the angel of the Lord give you those instructions, that's what you have to listen to. But the problem is, most people never hear any instructions. So what they do is this. Well, I read this, so I'm going to do that. Go on and read, Steve.
One brother said, he said, I do have some knowledge now.
Right, some. Right. Go on and read, brother.
Exodus chapter 32, verse 6. And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to pray.
Right, they had an orgy. See, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go, get thee down, for your people, which you brought out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves.
Right, these your people now. Them stiff-necked folks here, man. Them your people. You know. Yeah, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be your gods, O Israel, which have brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of you a great nation. And Moshe besought Yahweh, his Elohim, and said, Yahweh, why does your wrath wax hot against your people, which you have brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did Yahweh bring them out to slay them in the mountains and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath and repent of this evil against your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you sware by your own self, and said unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give it unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahweh repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people.
Why did he repent? Huh? Because someone stood in the breach. All through the scripture, when Yahweh was doing something to his people, somebody had to stand in the breach. See? But Jake don't want that to happen. See, Jake wants to stand in the breach himself. See, and this is what I keep telling people. You can't do anything except what you are charged to do. If you go beyond your charge, you're in big trouble. See? Go ahead and read, brother.
We also see here, Elder, that the relationship that Moses had with God, with Elohim, with Yahweh, to be able to speak like he did with him.
Talk with him face to face.
Yeah. Like he was talking to a man.
Talk with them face to face. This is why a lot of times, brother, sometimes people come to me and say, well, so and so and so and so and so. Says, who talked to you? Well, ain't nobody talked to me, so you need to be quiet then. You need to be quiet until somebody talk to you. Then you go do what you got to do. Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother. The problem is, what people see is a flesh and blood man just like they are. And they don't want to deal with that. See, they want to deal with something spooky, but you saw what happened when they saw you say when the fire came down on the mountain, that all the trumpets was blowing and everything. See what happened? They got away from there, didn't they? Right, but yet still they want to stand in holy things. Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother.
You're saying the way that you read a situation might not be the way that it's instructed for you.
Pardon me.
The way to read a situation might not be the instruction that's given unto you.
Right. See, what you have to do, my sister, is this. You have to wait until you receive instructions. This is why, and Israel's problem has always been this. They did not want to sit and be quiet. See, they did not want to wait until they received instructions. You know why? They know they wasn't going to hear nothing. So what they do, Israel do what Jake wanted to do. Same thing our fathers did just what they wanted to do. You know why? Yahweh talked to various men and put various men over them, and Jake don't want to be ruled over. We're gonna read. They even rejected God Himself.
So that's how you get around it. I heard, I think, and I see.
That's why I always tell people, my sister, if something come out of my mouth, come to me. Don't go to my neighbor, because my neighbor may give you some information on a level 1, and you need a level 6 today. You see, you do your job, and let me do my job. Okay. Go on to read, Steve.
Exodus chapter 32, verse 15. And Moshe turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim, graven upon the table. And when Yeshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moshe, there's a noise of war in the camp. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome. But the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass as soon as he came near unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing. And Moshe's anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands, and broke them beneath the mount.
You see what that brother did? You see how angry that brother did? Now this brother here knew that Yahweh was going to take these people in that land. He knew it. But you see how angry that brother got? Brother Simon went through all these changes here, and look what these fools down here doing. See? They done made them a golden calf to worship. Heard the voice, seen all the wonders in Egypt, right? Became sanctified to God Himself, and now what do? Now they reject God. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 20. And Moshe took the calf which they had made, and burnt it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and strewed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel drink of it.
He should have. Didn't Yahweh make them eat that sacrifice of the Passover? Okay. This your sin, you eat it up. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 21. And Moshe said unto Aaron, what did this people unto you, that you have brought so great a sin upon them?
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron said, let not the anger of my Adonai wax hot. You know the people, that they are set on me.
Don't put this on the people. Say I was scared. Say I was scared to death of these people, man. That's why I made that thing. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 23. For they said unto me, make us Elohims which shall go before us. For as for this Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what has become of him. And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf.
No, we know better than that, though. We know better than that, don't we? He melted the gold, and then took the cold gold and beat it in plates over the calf, right? And he's going to tell them, well, I put the gold in there, and this calf jumped out of there. Yeah, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 25. And when Moshe saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, then Moshe stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahweh's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor.
We didn't read where Yahweh told him that, though, did we? But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 28. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moshe, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. For Moshe had said, consecrate yourselves today to Yahweh, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Moshe said unto the people, you have sinned a great sin. And now I will go up unto Yahweh. Peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sins.
Mm-hmm.
And Moshe returned unto Yahweh and said, all these people have sinned a great sin, and have made them Elohims of gold. Yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book which you have written. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, whosoever have sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Therefore now go, lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto you. Behold, mine angel shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them.
Right, whosoever sinned against me, so you're going to lead the people now, but whosoever sinned against me, I'm going to require it for him. But you go and do what I told you to do, Moses. Say, but it's going to come a time when I'm going to require it from him. Go ahead and read, brother. See, we do all the things and we say, well, don't nothing happen. Well, maybe Yahweh done forgot this one. No, he didn't. We treasuring up wrath against the day of wrath that shall destroy the adversaries. See, you finish that, Steve?
Last verse, 35. And Yahweh plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron made.
Right, and Aaron died for making that calf too, didn't he? Numbers 12 in verse 1 through verse 16. Well, let me straighten that out. That was one of the reasons why he died. That was one of the reasons. The other reason was because he rebelled at the waters of Meribah in Kadesh. Those were the reasons why he died. He'd been chosen to do the God a service, and he's so afraid of the people, he want to do what the people say instead of what Yahweh say. Numbers 12, verse 1 through verse 16.
And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe? Have he not spoken also by us?
And Yahweh heard it. See? We talk about a prophetess that was in the wilderness, right? And the high priest of the living God. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 3. Now the man Moshe was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth.
In other words, he was obedient to his charge. Moshe wasn't that meek. He had killed an Egyptian, didn't he? Okay, and then he told the children of Aaron, told the children of Israel, whoever's on the Lord's side, strap your sword on. Let's go ahead and kill off some of these folks. Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 4. And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moshe, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, come out you three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Elohim came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moshe is not so, who is faithful in all mine house.
You have to ask yourself, have Yahweh done those things to you? Well, there must be a reason why he hasn't. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 8. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and the similitude of Yahweh shall he behold. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous.
Scared that brother to death. Yeah, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. And Aaron said unto Moshe, alas, my Adonai.
He didn't say to Yahweh, did he? Did he? He said unto Moshe, alas, my Lord. Go ahead, brother.
I beseech you, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned.
Right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moshe cried unto Yahweh, saying, heal her now, O Elohim, I beseech thee. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received in again. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterwards the people removed from Hazeroth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran.
Okay, chapter 16, and pick that up at verse 1, my brother. Chapter 16.
Are there any references to what happened to Aaron as a result of him having done that? I mean, we see that
He died.
Okay.
He died in the wilderness. Yahweh told him, says, you take Aaron and bring him up here. And bring Eleazar, his son, and strip them clothes off Aaron and put them on Eleazar. And Aaron, you go over there and you die. Right.
Okay.
Let me tell you something, brother. All sin is going to be visited. See, our problem is a lot of times we get off in the thing and we don't consider it sin. You know why? At that moment we are holier than thou. Chapter 16, in verse 1 through verse 50. Yahweh tells us to do one thing. We say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this over here. Yahweh tells us to go one place. I don't want to go there. I want to go over there. Right. So we separate ourselves. Chapter 16. You know, you finished that right now. Chapter 16, and pick that up at verse 1. Shabbat shalom, brother Tawid.
Numbers chapter 16, verses 1 through 50. Now Korah, the son of Issachar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown.
Right. Big wigs, right? Big power structures, right? Go ahead and read.
Numbers chapter 16, verse 3. And they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said unto them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh.
You take too much upon you. Ain't that something? Yahweh then gave them this charge, and what did they say? You taking too much upon you. All these folks here holy. Right. And all of them died too, didn't they? Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Verse 4. And when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you censers, Korah, and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh doth choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. And Moshe said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the El of Israel have separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them?
And it's the same thing in this congregation here. Does it seem but a small thing to you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Jacob out there in them streets, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them? Do that seem a small thing to you? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 10.
Okay.
Verse 10. And Elohim have brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you, and seek you the priesthood also?
Yahweh has already brought you in your rulers. Yahweh has already brought you in good charge. Now you seeking the priesthood also? Now you want to walk around and tell the priest what you ain't going to do and what you're going to do. Go on and read, brother.
Numbers chapter 16, verse 11. For which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh, and what is Aaron that you murmur against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, we will not come.
We ain't coming. Who you think you are, man? We ain't coming up here. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 13. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except you make yourself altogether a prince over us?
No. Yahweh made Moshe a god over them, just like he did Pharaoh. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 14. Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moshe was very angry and said unto Yahweh,
respect not their offering. He'd always stood in the breach, right? But what did he say? Respect not their offering. Why? Now they want to get into the priesthood. Go ahead and read, brother.
I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. Verse 16. And Moshe said unto Korah, be you and all your company before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring you before Yahweh every man his censer, 250 censers, you also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the congregation. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment.
Separate yourself from among these people, that I may consume them in a moment, right? Separate yourself from them, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 22. And they fell upon their faces and said, O Elohim, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation?
Somebody standing in the breach again for Jake, and Jake right there doing everything he ain't supposed to do, right? You know what Jake say? Ain't no love. Go on and read, brother.
Verse 23. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moshe rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children. And Moshe said, Hear know that Yahweh hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh have not sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked Yahweh. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground cleave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertain unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertain to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up also.
Right, because we know what we've been doing. See? We was one down there with that damn calf. Yeah. Go on, brother.
Verse 35. Numbers chapter 16, verse 35. And there came out a fire from Yahweh, and consumed the 250 men that offered incense.
Verse 41.
But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron, saying, You have killed the people of Yahweh. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moshe and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared. And Moshe and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moshe said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath gone out from Yahweh. The plague is begun. And Aaron took as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation. And behold, the plague was begun among the people, and he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people.
Right. The plague today is ignorance. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 48. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now they that died in the plague were 14,700, beside them that died about the mount of Korah. And Aaron returned unto Moshe unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague was stayed.
Okay, my brother, chapter 27, in verse 12 through verse 23. Yeah.
They did the same thing unto Moshe, but as he went to be sacrificed, and they offered him up, he said, Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So he still pleaded for the forgiveness of this, even though they did ill treatment for it.
That's the way we received the new covenant, brother. Because somebody stood in the breach. Somebody asked for forgiveness. It's been like that from Genesis down through Revelation. But see, Jake get to the place to where he think he's above that, man. Jake think he's so special that he's above the instruction that we read. And that's what has always plagued our people with problems. You know why? Jake got a mind of his own. Jake ain't gonna be told what to do by nobody unless he on one of them jobs just paying him that cash money. Then he'll obey. But other than that, he ain't going to have nobody rule over him. Where I told you to go, man.
Numbers 27, verses 12 through 33.
Mm-hmm. Right. And even Stephen said, which one of the prophets have your fathers not killed? Huh? They done sawed them asunder, right? Why? Because they was holy men of God. And they rejected them because they were men.
So Korah and all those other people who end up dying, did they think they were acting righteously? I mean, weren't they self-righteous to the very end?
Sure. Didn't you see what they told Moses? You take too much upon yourself. All the people holy. Right? You done made yourself altogether prince over us. Right? And Yahweh heard it. Moses didn't have to say nothing. Yahweh heard and said, get away from them folks. Right? See, he had already told them, I'm going to send my angel to keep you in the way, right? But don't you provoke him, because he will not pardon your sin. We were told he has given his angels charge over you to keep you in your way. And you will not be moved unless you dash your foot against a stone. Same thing.
Another good point about it too is that God of Israel shows not respect the person when it comes to righteousness, because just as Korah and Aaron and those children of Israel wasn't allowed to go into the land, Moshe wasn't either.
Of course not. Moshe was 120 years old, didn't need to go in the land. He'd been out there with them niggas 40 years, man. He didn't need to go into the land. Joshua went in there because he was younger. But he died in that land then, right? But just like you said, Yahweh visited the iniquity upon all the people. But I tell you what, on the Mount of Transfiguration, wasn't Moses there? Okay. But all the people rejected him, didn't they? Okay. Chapter.
From what occurs in the scripture from the beginning to the end, broad is the way into destruction. So the people always went against the holy man of God.
Of course they
always
did.
stood as remnant.
Of course they did. You know why? They thought they had more in the ball than they did. That's what it was, brother. Chapter 27. And they knew one thing. All the people was holy. Moses had told them, for you are holy people unto the Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim has chosen you to be a special people to himself above all the people upon the face of the earth. And they knew that. That's why they served themselves of God, brother. The whole time, for 40 years in the wilderness, and out of 400 years of judges, and 400 years of kings, what did they do? They served themselves of Yahweh, didn't they? Right. This is what, you see, when you get around and look in congregations, brother, you're going to find out one thing. All the people ain't going to attain salvation. Why do you think Messiah said, let the wheat and the tares grow up together? Okay. He said, I'll send my angels, and my angels separate them. Okay. Numbers 27. Pick that up verse 12, my brother.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, get thee up into this Mount Abarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel. And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered unto your people, as Aaron your brother was gathered. For you rebel against my commandment in the desert of sin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin.
Just because he said the wrong thing. Just because he said the wrong thing. But you know what? We don't care what come out of our mouth. We get angry. We don't care what pour out of our mouth. You know why? We want to justify ourselves. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 15. And Moshe spake unto Yahweh, saying, let Yahweh, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
You see what he told him? Set a man over the congregation, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 17. Which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in. That the congregation of Yahweh be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, take you Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay your hand upon him.
Ain't that the same way the Spirit was done in the New Testament? Huh? Because in the beginning, when the church was first starting, the Spirit just fell upon folks then, didn't it? But after a while, how did it get to be? It got to the place to where they had to take the elders, and the elders had to go lay their hands upon folks, didn't they? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 19. And set before him Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of your honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before Yahweh. At his word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation.
So he was the only one that was chosen that could ask before with the Urim and Thummim, wasn't it? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 22. And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded him, and he took Yeshua and set before him Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and he laid his hand upon him, and gave him a charge, as Yahweh commanded him by the hand of Moshe.
Okay, my brother. Now, some of us study to show ourselves approved to receive the engrafted word, that a soul may grow in knowledge and understanding of the extent of what grace encompasses. And surely, the more your ears really hear what the Spirit says in Holy Convention, the more one understands that because of the blindness of our fathers under the covenant at Sinai and Horeb, they having witnessed all the wonders done on Egypt, and being blessed to hear the voice of all power, their bodies was in the wilderness of sin, but their hearts were still infested with the sins of their own lustful pride. They didn't understand that Moshe, being a man, Moshe was written in the framework of the grace that Yisrael had received. This sanctification also passed to the 70 elders as well as to Moshe's servant Joshua. A selection of saints, not all the 12 tribes, but a selection of saints also saw the Adonai of Israel and did eat and drink with him. Although the Elohim of our fathers had called and redeemed them to himself, yet only Moshe, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders were invited to eat and drink with the bridegroom. One problem with our fathers was that the experience was proof that they were called by the Almighty, yet self-esteemed pride cast the veil of rebellion over their hearts, and it blinded them to the reason why the Holy Family was called. Therefore, the angel of Yahweh did not pardon their sins, but slew them and kept them in the wilderness 40 years. Yet his hand was stretched out still. Another problem with Israel was that they knew that they were all holy because the fathers were called from the womb and chosen by Yahweh. But being Yahweh's chosen people did not give them the authority that some of the fathers took upon themselves. Numbers 13 and verse 1 through 14 and verse 24, my brother. Numbers 13 and verse 1 through 14 and verse 24.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Send out men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall you send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moshe, by the commandment of Yahweh, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
Verse 17.
And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be you of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Tamai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan was in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bade upon two upon a staff, and they bade between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook of Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moshe and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great, and moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it.
Right, he heard the slander that they was bringing on, see? So what did he say? Let us go up at once and do this, man. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 31. But the men that went out with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were we in their sight.
And these were the first brothers that claimed the land once they got ready to go into Israel. The first brothers that claimed the land was the one that brought up the evil report on them. See. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Numbers chapter 14, verse 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron.
Because the folks coming back running off at the mouth because they didn't have any faith that the Creator was able to do what he wanted to do. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the whole congregation said unto them, Would Elohim that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would Elohim we had died in this wilderness? And why have Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. Then Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Yahshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahweh delight in us, then he will bring us into this land, and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not you against Yahweh, neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel.
And if the glory of Yahweh hadn't appeared in that at tabernacle, all Moses and all the folks that Yahweh had put in place would have been dead. Folks would have stoned them all. See, go ahead and read, brother. See, that's what happened when you leave everything into the hands of common man and don't let God take control of things. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be before they believe me for all the signs which I have showed among them? I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of you a greater nation and mightier than they. And Moshe said unto Yahweh, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for you brought up this people in your might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Yahweh, are among this people, and that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and that your cloud standeth over them, and that you go before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud and in a pillar of fire by night.
This lets you know that you can reason with your Creator, don't it? Go ahead and read it, brother.
Verse 15. Now if you shall kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of you will speak, saying, because Yahweh was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. And now I beseech you, let the power of my Adonai be great, according as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech you, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of your mercy, and as you have forgiven this people from Egypt, even unto now. And Yahweh said, I have pardoned according to your word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yahweh.
Praise Yah.
Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it.
And don't think the same thing didn't pass down to us. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 24. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and have followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it.
Amen and amen. Now eventually, Moshe, Aaron, and all that generation died, and another servant of Yahweh's choosing led Israel into the promised land and divided them their inheritance. Let's go into Joshua chapter 23, verse 1 through verse 24. Joshua chapter 23, verse 1 through verse 24.
Would that be like a part of the curse sin? Because now we have like the same we under the same situation where you can try and do something, you know, whether it's positive for the community or whether it's positive for the congregation or whatever it is. You have people that's going to always find a million reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Let the wheat and tares grow up together.
The good out of it.
Right. Brother, let me tell you something. Whenever Yahweh starts doing something, there's going to always be somebody there with, I don't like this, I ain't going to do that. It's going to always be that way. Why you think he said, I'm going to bring you in the wilderness and I'm going to purge out from among you them rebels? Huh? That's why, brother. Let me tell you something. Just because we come to church, don't think Satan don't come too. See? And if you ain't got your mind set in the right place, guess what? Something going to come out your mouth and you're going to do something that's going to be contrary to the word of God or to the will of God. See, a lot of time we read his word and we understand his word, but what we don't understand is what his will is. And see, we'll do things because of what the words say, but yet and still we don't know what his will is about that.
That's why in prayer, you know, you have to let his will be done.
Right. Only that. Correct. 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 Satan know this word. See? But guess what? He don't know Yahweh's will. Okay. Like he told Satan, say you deceive yourself. Joshua 23 and verse 1 through chapter 24 and verse 33.
And it came to pass a long time after that Yahweh had given rest unto Israel from all their enemies round about, that Yahshua waxed old and stricken in age. And Yahshua called for all Israel, and for their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said unto them, I am old and stricken in age.
Right. He didn't call the whole 12 tribes, did he? He called the rulers, didn't he? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. And you have seen all that Yahweh your Elohim have done unto all these nations because of you. For Yahweh your Elohim is he that hath fought for you.
Amen.
Behold, I have divided unto you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes, from Jordan with all the nations that I have cut off, even unto the great sea westward.
Right. But see, they were told to kill off everything. Right? Don't let the inhabitants of the land remain in the land, because they'll be a snare to you. You see? But what did our people do? We're going to keep the best men. We're going to keep the finest women. See? We're going to go up to the altars and we're going to melt them down and strip the gold off them, right? And y'all told them, beat that stuff up. We don't want none of that stuff, right? Right. Yeah. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Yes, sir. Verse 5. And Yahweh, your Elohim, he shall expel them from before you, and drive them from out of your sight, and you shall possess their land, as Yahweh your Elohim hath promised unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Be you therefore very courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moshe, that you turn not aside therefrom to the right hand or to the left, that you come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their Elohims, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow yourselves unto them.
And you know what? We can't even talk with other people without mentioning the names of their gods, most of the time, right? We tell them on what day of the week we're going to do it. We got to mention one of their gods. See? We get to talk about the planets up in the sky. We got to mention one of their gods. With that on us, we should be happy to be able to assemble to just pray to the Lord our God, man.
The Roman world, they said that remembering the gods, that's what to keep those names, you know, to keep it. But we still have the nation change their gods.
And we have.
Keep the things.
We have. You know why? We pray to a God, but when you look right around it, brother, you know who our God is? Us. Go ahead and read, brother. We are own gods. We know that. We know that, don't we? We do what we want to do, don't we? Okay. Go on and read. And guess what? Yahweh gonna bust head. When the Messiah show up, he gonna bust head from one end of the earth to the other. Gonna be many gonna come in that day and say, Yahweh did not do this in your name? Huh? I mean, you gave me all this word and everything, I understand it. Didn't I do that in your name? Right. Get away from me, you work of iniquity. You did that in my name, but you didn't follow your instructions.
Samuel or someone, when he was ordered to kill the Amalekites,
Right.
he said rebellion is worse than to say witchcraft.
Like witchcraft, we gonna read that. Go ahead, bro.
Yahshua,
Get in slow-mo.
Yahshua chapter 23, verse 8. But cleave unto Yahweh your Elohim, as you have done unto this day. For Yahweh have driven out from before you great nations and strong, but as for you, no man have been able to stand before you unto this day.
Praise Yah.
One man of you shall chase 1,000, for Yahweh your Elohim, he it is that fighteth for you, as he hath promised you.
Praise Yah.
Take good heed therefore unto yourselves, that you love Yahweh your Elohim. Else, if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, Know for a certainty that Yahweh your Elohim will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which Yahweh your Elohim have given you.
Didn't it happen to him? For these same reasons here. Didn't it happen to him? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 14. And behold, this day I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your souls that not one thing have failed of all the good things which Yahweh your Elohim spake concerning you.
Amen.
All are come to pass unto you, and not one thing have failed thereof. Therefore it shall come to pass that as all good things are come upon you, which Yahweh your Elohim promised you, so shall Yahweh bring upon you all evil things, until he have destroyed you from off this good land which Yahweh your Elohim have given you.
And brothers and sisters, we look in the mirror and see that we living proof of that. We are living proof of it. Now, do we choose to follow in the footsteps of our fathers? Go on and read, brother.
Verse 16. When you have transgressed the covenant of Yahweh your Elohim, which he commanded you, and have gone and served other Elohims, and have bowed yourselves to them, then shall the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you, and you shall perish quickly from off the good land which he have given unto you.
Right. We came over here, and then what did we do? We end up worshiping and serving the gods of the nations wide open until Yahweh called you to hear his voice. Go on and read, Steve.
Yeshua, chapter 24, verse 1. And Yeshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, and called for the elders of Israel, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and they presented themselves before before Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeshua said unto all the people, Thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Esau. And I gave unto Esau Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it, but Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. I sent Moshe also and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt according to that which I did among them, and afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and you came unto the sea, and the Egyptians pursued after your fathers with chariots and horsemen unto the Red Sea. And when they cried unto Yahweh, he put darkness between you and the Egyptian, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt, and you dwelt in the wilderness a long season. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, which dwelt on the other side Jordan, and they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand, that you might possess their land. And I destroyed them from before you. Then Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam the son of Beor to curse you. But I would not hearken unto Balaam. Therefore he blessed you still, so I delivered you out of his hand. And you went over Jordan, and came unto Jericho, and the men of Jericho fought against you, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I delivered them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, even the two kings of the Amorites, but not with your sword, nor with your bow. And I have given you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you build not, and you dwell in them. Of the vineyards and olive yards which you planted not do you eat.
And the same thing he told us going to happen when we go back into the land. Didn't he tell us that, huh? So you're going to inhabit houses with goods and vineyards that you didn't work for your own hands with. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 14. Now therefore fear Yahweh, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the Elohims which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve you Yahweh. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, then you choose this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods of your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 16. And the people answered and said, Elohim forbid that we should forsake Yahweh to serve other Elohim. For Yahweh, our Elohim, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And Yahweh drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites which dwelt in the land. Therefore will we also serve Yahweh, for he is our Elohim.
Sure you will. Go ahead.
And Yahshua said unto the people, you can't serve Yahweh, for he is a holy Elohim. He is a jealous Elohim. He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sins. If you forsake Yahweh and serve strange Elohims, then will he turn and do you hurt and consume you after that he have done you good. And the people said unto Yahshua, no, but we will serve Yahweh. And Yahshua said unto the people, you are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen you Yahweh to serve him. And they said, we are witnesses. Now therefore put away, said Yahshua, the strange Elohims which are among you, and incline your heart unto Yahweh Elohim of Israel.
Even during the time of Yahshua, they was in the land, they still had their false gods, didn't they? Didn't they? Go ahead, brother. See, Jake gonna do what Jake want to do.
Back in Genesis 15, can that be saying understanding? I mean, like, but it said that they should come hither. We read it said this is saying
Come hither again, because the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet filled. He said he would come hither again, right? They hadn't even been there. Israel wasn't even a nation at that time. It's the same Amorites, ain't it? So when he said they're going to come here again because the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled, that had to be during the 400-year captivity then, didn't it? Okay, because when we read about the Amorites just faded off into history, didn't it? Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 24. And the people said unto Yahshua, Yahweh our Elohim will we serve, and his voice will we obey. So Yahshua made a covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Yahshua wrote these words in the book of the law of Elohim, and took a great stone, and set it up there under an oak that was by the sanctuary of Yahweh. And Yahshua said unto all the people, behold, this stone shall be a witness unto us, for it hath heard all the words of Yahweh which he spake unto us. It shall be therefore a witness unto you, lest you deny your Elohim.
And guess what? That wall there is a witness against us. Go on to read, brother.
Verse 28.
See, Yahweh knows what's been taught from behind this altar. See, he knows it. And he knows what the congregation is doing. See, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 28. So Yahshua let the people depart, every man unto his inheritance. And it came to pass after these things, that Yahshua the son of Nun, the servant of Yahweh, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath-Serah, which is in Mount Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gaash. And Israel served Yahweh all the days of Yahshua, and all the days of the elders that overlived Yahshua, and which had known all the works of Yahweh that he had done for Israel. And the bones of Yosef, which the children of Israel brought up out of Egypt, buried they in Shechem, in a parcel of ground which Jacob bought of the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver. And it became the inheritance of the children of Yosef. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, died, And they buried him in a hill that pertained to Phinehas his son, which was given him in Mount Ephraim.
Okay, my brother.
Ephraim.
Judges 2 in verse 1 through verse 19. Judges 2 in verse 1 through verse 19.
Verse 1. And an angel of Yahweh came up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and have brought you unto the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. And you shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their Elohim shall be a snare unto you. And it came to pass, when the angel of Yahweh spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. And they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto Yahweh. And when Yahshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. And the people served Yahweh all the days of Yahshua, and all the days of the elders that outlived Yahshua, who had seen all the great works of Yahweh that he did for Israel. And Yahshua the son of Nun, the servant of Yahweh, died being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath-Heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, which knew not Yahweh, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and served Baalim. And they forsook Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other Elohims of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked Yahweh to anger. And they forsook Yahweh, and served Baal and Ashtaroth. And the anger of Yahweh was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies.
Right. They didn't have no rulers. They didn't have any rulers that followed the true and living God. All of the rulers that followed the true and living God had died off. So when the cat's away, the mice play. And that's just what they did. Go ahead, brother. Yeah.
That's basically what happened to a lot of the generation here. We weren't raised in the Word, so we had to be called.
Right. You had to be called, bro. The thing I always say is this, I understand we all got problems. Just thank Yahweh he called you to hear his word, because he called you to give you salvation. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 15. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of Yahweh was against them for evil, as Yahweh had said, and as Yahweh had sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed. Nevertheless, Yahweh raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring after other Elohims, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of Yahweh, but they did not so. And when Yahweh raised them up judges, then Yahweh was with the judge, and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. For it repented Yahweh because of their groanings by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers, in following other Elohims to serve them, and to bow down unto them. They ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way.
Okay, my brother. 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 1 through verse 22. 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 1 through verse 22.
Verse 1. And it came to pass Verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, you are old, and your sons walk not in your ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto you. For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
You hear what's saying? Huh? It's not you they reject me. See? Because they don't want me to reign over. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other Elohims, so do they also unto you. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint over him captains over thousands, and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers, and to his servants. And he will take your men servants, and your maid servants, and your goodliest young men, and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and you shall be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day because of your king which you have chosen you, and Yahweh will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, Go you, every man unto his city.
Right. Now here we see that Jake was so holy and had so much pride that being made comfortable in the inheritance, Jake followed the imagination of his own proud heart. Not only did they refuse Yahweh's warning and instructions, they grew tired of Yahweh's choosing judges for the people and soon rejected the Almighty as their king. But why did they do these things? Because they were grown folks and completely independent of Yahweh's ordinations of things. Now, we know that Samuel anointed Saul king. king in Israel, the first king in Israel, right? Well, let's go read some of the exploits that took place after that, during that time, rather. 1 Samuel 10, and pick that up at verse 1 through verse 27, brother.
Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head and kissed him and said, Is it not because Yahweh have anointed you to be captain over his inheritance? When you are departed from me today, then you shall find 2 men by Rachel's sepulchre in the border of Benjamin at Salsar, and they will say unto you, The asses which you went to seek are found, and lo, your father have left the care of the asses, and sorroweth for you, saying, What shall I do for my son? Then shall you go on forward from thence, and you shall come to the plain of Tabor, and there shall meet you 3 men going up to Elohim to Bethel, one carrying 3 kids, and another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a bottle of wine. And they will salute you, and give you 2 loaves of bread, which you shall receive of their hands. After that you shall come to the hill of Elohim, where is the garrison of the Philistines, and it shall come to pass, when you are come thither to the city, that you shall meet a company of prophets coming down from the high place with a psaltery, and a tabret, and a pipe, and an harp before them, and they shall prophesy. And the Spirit of Yahweh will come upon you, and you shall prophesy with them, and shall be turned into another man.
You see what happened to that brother? The Spirit came upon him, and he was turned into another man, right? And he began to prophesy, right? Well, we know something happened to that boy down the line somewhere, don't we? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 7. And let it be, when these signs are come unto you, that you do as occasion serve you, for Elohim is with you. And thou shalt go down before me to Gilgal, and behold, I will come down unto you to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifices of peace offerings. 7 days shall you tarry till I come to you and show you what you shall do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so that when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, Elohim gave him another heart, and all those signs came to pass that day. And when they came thither to the hill, behold, a company of prophets met him, and the Spirit of Elohim came upon him, and he prophesied among them. And it came to pass, when all that knew him before time saw that, behold, he prophesied among the prophets, then the people said one to another, What is this that is come unto the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? And one of the same place answered and said, But who is their father? Therefore it became a proverb, Is Saul also among the prophets? And when he had made an end of prophesying, he came to the high place. And Saul's uncle said unto him and to his servant, Whither went you? And he said, To seek the asses. And when we saw that they were not where, we came to Samuel. And Saul's uncle said, Tell me, I pray you, what Samuel said unto you. And Saul said unto his uncle, He told us plainly that the asses were found, but of the matter of the kingdom whereof Samuel spake, he told him not. And Samuel called the people together unto Yahweh to Mizpah, and said to the children of Israel, Thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of all kingdoms, and of them that oppress you. And you have this day rejected your Elohim, who himself saved you out of all your adversities and your tribulations, and you have said unto him, Nay, but set a king over us. Now therefore present yourselves before Yahweh by your tribes and by your thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And when Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel to come near, the tribe of Benjamin was taken. And when he had caused the tribe of Benjamin to come near by their families, the family of Matri was taken. And Saul the son of Kish was taken, and when they sought him, he could not be found. Therefore they inquired of Yahweh further, if the man should yet come thither. And Yahweh answered, Behold, he hath hid himself among the stars.
Right. Man, don't nobody want to be king over y'all. This brother hid himself among y'all stuff down there. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 23. And they ran and fetched him thence. And when he stood among the people, he was higher than any of the people from his shoulders and up.
Goodly man. All Israel could stand up, and all you had to do is say, there's the king over there. Right. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 24. And Samuel said to all the people, see you him whom Yahweh hath chosen, that there is none like him among all the people? And all the people shouted and said, Elohim, save the king. Then Samuel told the people the manner of the kingdom, and wrote it in a book, and laid it up before Yahweh. And Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. And Saul also went home to Gibeah, and there went with him a band of men whose heart Elohim had touched. But the children of Satan said, how shall this man save us? And they despised him and brought him no presents, but he held his peace.
Okay, my brother. Chapter 12 and verse 1 through verse 13.
And Samuel said unto all Israel, behold, I have hearkened unto your voice in all that you said unto me, and have made a king over you. And now, behold, the king walketh before you, and I am old and gray-headed, and behold, my sons are with you, and I have walked before you from my childhood unto this day. Behold, here I am, witness against me before Yahweh, and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Or whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Of whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eyes therewith? And I will restore it you. And they said, you have not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither have you taken aught of any man's hand. And he said unto them, Yahweh is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found aught in my hand. And they answered, he is witness. And Samuel said unto the people, it is Yahweh that advanced Moshe and Aaron, and that brought your fathers up out of the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before Yahweh of all the righteous acts of Yahweh, which he did to you and to your fathers. When Jacob was coming to Egypt, and your fathers cried unto Yahweh, then Yahweh sent Moshe and Aaron, which brought forth your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. And when they forgot Yahweh their Elohim, he sold them into the hand of Sisera, captain of the host of Hazor, and into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them. And they cried unto Yahweh and said, we have sinned, because we have forsaken Yahweh, and have served Baalim and Ashtaroth. But now deliver us out of the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh sent Yerub-Baal, and Bedan, and Jephthah, and Samuel, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you dwell safe. And when you saw that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, came against you, you said unto me, nay, but a king shall reign over us, when Yahweh your Elohim was your king. Now therefore, behold the king whom you have chosen, and whom you have desired, and behold, Yahweh hath set a king over you. If you will fear Yahweh, and serve him, and obey his voice, and not rebel against the commandment of Yahweh, then shall both you and also the king that reigneth over you continue following Yahweh your Elohim. But if you will not obey the voice of Yahweh, but rebel against the commandments of Yahweh, then shall the hand of Yahweh be against you, as it was against your fathers. Now therefore stand and see this great thing which Yahweh will do before your eyes. Is it not wheat harvest today? I will call unto Yahweh, and he shall send thunder and rain, that you may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which you have done in the sight of Yahweh, in asking you a king.
Okay, my brother, why don't you go down to chapter 13 and verse 1.
Saul reigned 1 year, and when he reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that were in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also was had an abomination with the Philistines. And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Bethaven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets and in rocks and in high places and in pits. And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. And he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. And Saul said, Bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offering. And he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, What have you done?
What have you done? See, I told you to wait up there till I come up there. Now, what have you done? See? Go ahead and read, brother.
And Saul said, Because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that you came not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash, therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto Yahweh. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering.
Seem right, doesn't it? The prophet hadn't came, right? So you got all your enemies, common reasoning. You got all your enemies around you, right? So what do? You force yourself. You force yourself to do something that you wasn't told to do. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, Thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of Yahweh your Elohim, which he commanded you. But now would Yahweh have established your kingdom upon Israel forever. But now your kingdom shall not continue. Yahweh have sought him a man after his own heart, and Yahweh have commanded him to be captain over his people, because you have not kept that which Yahweh commanded.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go into chapter 15 and verse 1 through chapter 16 and 14. Chapter 15 and verse 1 through chapter 16 and verse 14.
Samuel also said unto Saul, Yahweh sent me to anoint you to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken you unto the voice of the words of Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way which he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together, and numbered them in Telaim 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Yehuda. And Saul came to a city of Amalek, and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said to the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until you come to Shur, that is, over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly.
According to how they felt, right? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 10. Then came the word of Yahweh unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me, and have not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto Yahweh all night. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be you of Yahweh, I have performed the commandment of Yahweh.
You see what that knothead thought? You see what he thought? Now this is the second time he's the ruler, and this is the second time he's received instructions what to do. And what did he think? He said, I did what Yahweh told me. No, he didn't. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 14. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear?
Mm-hmm.
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto Yahweh your Elohim, and the rest we have utterly destroyed.
He's king. And here he's telling the prophet what the people did. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 16. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell you what Yahweh hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When you were little in your own sight, were you not made the head of the tribes of Israel, and Yahweh anointed you king over Israel? And Yahweh sent you on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites and fight against them until they be consumed. Why then did you not obey the voice of Yahweh, but did fly upon the spoil and did evil in the sight of Yahweh? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yes, I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and have gone the way which Yahweh sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took up the spoil, sheep and oxen.
Right, I only took the king. See? I only took the king. The people took all the rest of that stuff, man. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 21. But the people took up the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahweh your Elohim in Gilgal.
Sounds good. Took all the best thing to sacrifice, right? That sounds good, doesn't it? Read, brother.
Verse 22. And Samuel said, Have Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of ram. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
Amen.
Because you have rejected the word of Yahweh, Yahweh have also rejected you from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of Yahweh and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore I pray you, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship Yahweh. And Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of Yahweh, and Yahweh have rejected you from being king over Israel.
Amen.
And as Saul turned about to go away, he laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said unto Saul, Yahweh have rent the kingdom of Israel from you this day, and have given it to a neighbor of yours that is better than you. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent. for he is not a man that he should repent.
Mm-hmm.
Then Saul said, I have sinned. Yet honor me now, I pray you, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship Yahweh, your Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
But he never did say Yahweh, my Elohim.
Right.
All this time,
Your
he knew he
Elohim.
wasn't worshiping.
Right.
He knew he wasn't
Yeah,
worshiping
he knew
Yahweh.
he was rotten, dude. He knew it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse-
One thing about you, brother. When you know you rotten, you know you rotten.
Right.
You don't fool yourself. You know you may come around here with a big old smile on your face, but you know when you come, you got Satan sitting up on top of your head. Yeah. Go on and read, brother.
Verse 31. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped Yahweh. Then said Samuel, bring you hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately, and Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, as your sword have made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among
I'm
women.
talking about his mama now, ain't it? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 34. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before Yahweh in Gilgal. Verse 34. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house to Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and Yahweh repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go, and I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And Yahweh said, take a heifer with you, and say, I am come to sacrifice to Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. And you shall anoint unto me him whom I name unto you. And Samuel did that which Yahweh spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, do you come in peace?
Right, because they knew when the prophets used to came, brother, the prophets used to come with a message that was detrimental to the people, because they knew what they was doing wrong. So what they asked, man, do you come in peace? Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 5. And he said peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto Yahweh. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab and said, surely Yahweh's anointed is before him.
Right, look good in Samuel's eyes, right? Say, oh man, surely this is the man right here. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 7. But Yahweh said unto Samuel, don't look on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahweh seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh looketh on the heart.
Praise Yah.
Then Jesse called Amminadab, and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither have Yahweh chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither have Yahweh chosen this. Again Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel, and Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahweh have not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all your children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he was sent, and brought in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil, and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of Yahweh departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahweh troubled him.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go into chapter 31 and verse 1 through verse 13. Chapter 31 and verse 1 through verse 13.
Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his son. And the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Melchishua, Saul's son. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, Draw your sword and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and all his men, that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. And it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head and stripped off his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. And they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days.
Amen. That's about all I'm going to do today. Next week we'll pick it up at the crowning of Dawid.